There are modifications that make a car faster, modifications that make it handle better, and then there are modifications that make a car look like it is doing 150 miles per hour while sitting completely still at a gas station. The rear wing has somehow managed to do all three. From Japanese tuning culture to American import builds, European car meets, and professional motorsport-inspired street cars, certain spoiler designs became so recognizable that you can almost identify the era of a build just by looking at the trunk. Today, we are counting down 7 of the most iconic and widely used rear wing styles associated with street racing and tuning culture around the world. And no, putting a giant aluminum wing on a 110 horsepower economy car does not automatically create downforce, horsepower, or emotional maturity. Before we start, tell us in the comments, what car do you think wears a rear wing better than anything else? A Supra? An STI? An Evo? A Skyline? And if you have ever owned a modified car, tell us what the first modification was. Just remember, when we talk about street racing culture here, we are talking about the cars, designs, history, and influence surrounding the scene. Actual high-speed driving belongs on closed courses and controlled tracks. Now, starting at number 7, we have one of the most recognizable symbols of early 2000s tuning culture, the Universal Aluminum GT Wing. Number 7, the Universal Aluminum GT Wing. If you were around modified cars in the late 1990s or early 2000s, you have seen this thing. 2 tall metal supports, 1 large horizontal blade, adjustable mounting points, and enough visual confidence to make almost any compact car look like it had just escaped from a race paddock. These wings became extremely popular because they were relatively affordable, visually dramatic, and could be fitted to a huge range of vehicles. Honda Civics, Acura Integras, Mitsubishi Eclipses, Nissan 240SX, Toyota Celicas, and even cars that probably should have been left completely alone received giant aluminum wings during the height of the import tuning era. The inspiration was legitimate motorsport. Proper GT racing wings are designed to manipulate airflow and create aerodynamic load at speed. But the street versions varied dramatically in quality and design. Some were functional, some were installed mainly for appearance, and some looked like they could support a dining table for 6. That became part of their charm. The Universal GT Wing represented an era when customization was loud, experimental, and completely unafraid of being criticized. Cars had graphics, body kits, bright wheels, huge exhaust tips, and wings that could probably be seen from another zip code. Today, the Universal Aluminum Wing has become more nostalgic than fashionable on many builds, but it never truly disappeared. Track-inspired projects, drift-style cars, and period-correct 2000s builds still use them, and there is something strangely satisfying about seeing one on the right car. The key phrase there is the right car. Put one on a properly modified Nissan Silvia, and it can look fantastic. Put one on your grandmother's grocery commuter, and Thanksgiving dinner may become uncomfortable. At number 6, we move into a more subtle category. The raised factory-style performance wing. This design became popular because manufacturers themselves proved that a rear wing could look aggressive without appearing like someone attached a park bench to the trunk. Cars such as the Honda Integra Type R, various Civic performance models, Mitsubishi performance sedans, and numerous Japanese coupes used raised spoilers that followed the original body lines while still giving the rear of the vehicle a motorsport-inspired appearance. This type of wing became especially important in Japanese tuning culture because enthusiasts could modify a car while keeping something close to an OEM Plus appearance. Instead of completely changing the silhouette, the spoiler looked like it belonged there from the factory. That philosophy later became incredibly popular around the world. The United States embraced it, European enthusiasts adopted it, and today, OEM-style performance builds are everywhere. These wings also demonstrate something people often forget. Bigger does not automatically mean better. Aerodynamics is about airflow, angle, shape, vehicle speed, and how the entire body interacts with the air. A giant wing mounted incorrectly is not magically superior to a smaller design engineered as part of the car. Yes, I know. Terrible news for everyone who thought ordering the biggest wing online automatically added 50 horsepower. Number 5 is where things start becoming unmistakably serious. The classic Subaru WRX STI style wing. Few rear spoilers are as strongly associated with one type of car. For generations of enthusiasts, seeing a tall wing on the back of a Subaru sedan immediately brought to mind rally heritage, turbocharged boxer engines, all-wheel drive, and the kind of owner who can somehow mention boost before introducing themselves. The STI wing became an icon because it perfectly matched the personality of the car. The WRX STI was never designed to disappear quietly into traffic. Its hood scoop, aggressive bodywork, performance hardware, and large rear wing communicated exactly what the vehicle was about. Even people who knew almost nothing about cars could often recognize an STI from behind simply because of that silhouette. The influence went far beyond Subaru. Similar tall pedestal wings appeared on modified compact sedans throughout tuning culture, especially during the growth of Japanese performance cars in North America. The basic formula worked. Take a practical 4-door car, lower it, add wheels, improve the stance, install a serious-looking rear wing, and suddenly the family sedan looked like it had weekend plans. What made the STI design especially memorable was the connection between visual identity and genuine competition history. Subaru built an international reputation around rally competition, and the road cars reflected that performance-focused image. The result was a spoiler that did not feel like a random accessory. It became part of the entire character of the vehicle, and that leads us directly to number 4. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution High Rear Wing. If the STI wing became one side of the rally-inspired tuning world, the Evolution wing became the other. For years, Subaru and Mitsubishi created one of the most recognizable performance rivalries in automotive culture, and their rear wings were practically flags identifying which side of the argument you had chosen. The Lancer Evolution used large rear wings across multiple generations, and the design changed as the car evolved. By the time vehicles like the Evolution 8, 9, and X arrived, the wing had become essential to the Evo silhouette. Mitsubishi itself described the large rear wing on the Evolution X as providing downforce for improved road holding at track speeds, demonstrating that the component was more than decoration on the factory performance model. The Evo's wing became extremely influential in American import culture because the car itself offered something unusual. 4 doors, all-wheel drive, turbocharged power, and genuine competition heritage wrapped in a sedan body. It looked aggressive without needing a complete aftermarket body conversion. Add wheels, suspension, and a few tasteful exterior changes, and the Evo already had the visual presence enthusiasts were trying to create. And the rivalry with the STI made both cars even more famous. Park an Evo next to an STI at a car meet, and someone will eventually start explaining why one is superior. Nobody asked, obviously, but that has never stopped automotive enthusiasts before. We are only at number 4, and the biggest icons are still coming, because the final 3 take us from rally-inspired sedans to Japanese sports cars whose wings became almost as famous as the cars themselves. One is associated with one of the most recognizable turbocharged coupes ever built. Another belongs to a machine whose motorsport reputation changed how the world looked at Japanese performance cars. And the final design became such an important part of its car's silhouette that removing it almost makes the vehicle look incomplete. At number 3, we arrive at one of the cleanest and most recognizable rear wing designs ever fitted to a Japanese sports car. The Mazda RX7 FD factory-style rear wing. The FD generation RX7 already had one of the smoothest shapes of the 1990s. Low nose, curved bodywork, compact proportions, and a rear end that looked fast before the engine was even running. Add the right spoiler, and suddenly the entire silhouette felt complete. That is exactly why RX-7 style wings became so popular in tuning culture. They were aggressive enough to transform the car, but they did not destroy the original design. The RX-7 also had something that helped make its appearance legendary: genuine performance credibility. Its twin-turbo rotary engine, lightweight chassis, rear-wheel drive layout, and sharp handling made it far more than a styling exercise. Enthusiasts in Japan, the United States, Australia, Europe, and other markets turned the FD into everything from track builds to show cars, drift-inspired projects, and highly detailed street machines. The rear wing became part of that visual language. You saw an RX-7 with the right stance, wheels, and spoiler, and you immediately understood what kind of culture it came from. Over the years, aftermarket companies created dozens of variations. Some stayed close to the factory design. Others became much larger, taller, and more aggressive. Wide-body RX-7 builds often paired huge rear wings with oversized fenders and deep wheels, while cleaner builds used smaller factory-style spoilers to preserve the original shape. That flexibility is one reason the RX-7 became such an important canvas for tuners. It could look elegant, aggressive, or completely ridiculous depending on the owner's decisions. And yes, occasionally, all three at the same time. But at number 2, we reach a car whose rear wing became connected to an entire generation of performance enthusiasts: the Nissan Skyline GTR, especially the R34. The R34 GTR is one of those cars that almost does not need an introduction anymore. Even people who are not deeply involved in car culture often recognize its boxy shape: 4 round taillights, aggressive front end, and tall, adjustable rear wing. The design was not subtle, but that was exactly the point. The GTR was built around performance, and the rear wing visually communicated that purpose. What makes the R34 wing especially interesting is that it was not simply a decorative piece added at the end of the design process. Nissan engineered the GTR with aerodynamic performance in mind, and higher performance versions used adjustable rear aero to help balance the car at speed. The wing became part of the identity of the vehicle in the same way the round taillights did. Remove it, and the car suddenly feels strangely unfinished. The GTR's reputation also came from motorsport success. Earlier, Skyline GTR generations had already established a serious competition legacy, and by the time the R34 appeared, the GTR name had become associated with advanced all-wheel drive, turbocharged power, and incredible tuning potential. Enthusiasts took that reputation and pushed it even further. Modified Skyline builds became famous for enormous horsepower numbers, upgraded turbo systems, aggressive wheels, aerodynamic kits, and increasingly serious rear wings. In Japan, the car became a tuning legend. In the United States, its rarity made it even more desirable. In Australia and parts of Europe, imported GTRs developed dedicated enthusiast communities. The rear wing was one of the easiest visual signals that said, "Yes, this is the car you think it is." And then the aftermarket did what the aftermarket always does. It looked at a large factory wing and said, "Interesting, but what if we made it twice as large?" You started seeing GT-style carbon wings, circuit-inspired spoilers, adjustable aluminum designs, and complete aero packages on Skyline builds. Some were genuinely functional on track-focused cars. Others existed mainly because the owner wanted the car to look like it was about to qualify for a race while parked outside a coffee shop. Both approaches became part of the culture. But there is one rear wing that may be even more recognizable worldwide, and it belongs to number 1. The Toyota Supra Mk4 factory-style wing. If you ask a random group of car enthusiasts to imagine a 1990s Toyota Supra, there is a good chance the image in their head includes that massive curved rear spoiler. The Mk4 Supra without its wing still looks beautiful, but with it, the car becomes instantly identifiable. The spoiler rises high above the trunk, follows the rounded shape of the body, and somehow manages to look dramatic without appearing disconnected from the rest of the design. The fourth-generation Supra became famous for many reasons. Its 2JZ engine developed an almost mythical reputation for strength and tuning potential. Its rear-wheel drive platform made it attractive for performance builds. Its styling aged remarkably well, and as modified Japanese cars became increasingly popular around the world, the Supra moved from respected sports car to full automotive icon. The factory wing played a huge role in that identity. It became so closely associated with the Supra that aftermarket manufacturers created countless replicas, taller versions, carbon fiber interpretations, and full racing designs inspired by it. Some owners kept the original wing because it perfectly matched the shape of the car. Others replaced it with enormous GT wings designed for circuit-style builds. And some removed it completely for a cleaner look, immediately starting an argument in the comments section that could probably continue until the sun runs out of fuel. That is what makes these spoilers so interesting. They are not just pieces of material mounted to a trunk. The most successful designs become part of the personality of the car. Think about the 7 we covered. The universal aluminum GT wing represented the wild experimentation of early import tuning. Factory-style performance wings gave enthusiasts a more subtle approach. The Subaru STI and Mitsubishi Evo turned large wings into symbols of a legendary rivalry. The RX7 showed how a spoiler could complement elegant design. The Skyline GTR turned aerodynamic hardware into part of a motorsport identity. And the Supra MK4 created one of the most recognizable rear profiles in automotive history. But there is something important to remember. A rear wing does not automatically make a car faster. A properly engineered aerodynamic device can generate useful downforce at speed, but it has to work with the vehicle's shape, suspension, tires, and intended use. Adding a random wing to a road car does not magically improve performance. In some cases, it may create additional drag without providing meaningful aerodynamic benefit. That does not make visual modifications pointless. Car culture has always been about more than performance numbers. It is also about identity, creativity, history, and personal taste. Some owners build cars for lap times, some build them for shows. Some simply want to look back at their car after parking it and think, yeah, that looks good. And honestly, that may be the most important test of all. Now tell us in the comments, which rear wing deserves the #1 spot in your opinion? Would you choose the Supra, the Skyline, the STI, the Evo, or something completely different? Maybe a classic muscle car spoiler, a modern carbon GT wing, or even a clean ducktail design? And if you could build one dream car with any rear wing in the world, what combination would you choose? Subscribe for more countdowns, automotive history, tuning culture, unusual car facts, and stories from around the world. Because sometimes one small piece of bodywork becomes so iconic that decades later, we still recognize the entire car from the shape of its spoiler alone.